Hi everybody, this is Steven, and welcome back to my channel, Where Else Philippines. I want to welcome all you new subscribers, all you people who have previously looked at my videos, liked, subscribed, commented. Thanks for coming back. Thanks for sticking around. I'm going to talk to you today about being retired in the Philippines, which is different than just coming here as an expat, or just coming here on vacation, or just coming here to find work, or to come here to find love. All of these things takes money, and so does having a hobby. But I'm going to deal with the hobby part. So stay tuned, as I'm going to take you into my man cave so you can see some of the things that I do to keep myself busy and occupied while I'm here. Stay tuned. It'll be exciting. As I said, I'm going to talk about having a hobby. Having a hobby is one of the most important things that you need to consider when you are retired. Now, whether you're retired in the US or Australia or UK or any place, it's no different being retired there than it is in the Philippines. Hobby, the definition of hobby is something that someone really loves to do that's outside of their regular work. This is something that you do that most times you're not going to get paid for. It's like a side thing. And those are the definitions of what it is to have a hobby, or what having a hobby means. And when you're here in the Philippines, you have to consider having a hobby as well. Now, you might say, well, I'm going to do some traveling around while I'm in the Philippines. That's a hobby. You can do that. I've done that. You can experiment with cooking new recipes. I've done that too. I've tried that. There's a couple of apps that you can get that will show some recipes, and a lot of the ingredients that they have listed in those recipes can be found here. And if they can't be found, then I'm sure that you can make some very decent substitutions, as I have done. And in making some of those substitutions, the meal came out pretty good. So there's no issue with that as far as cooking is concerned. There's listening to music. As you can see from here, I brought all of my music with me. And so with music being one of my hobbies, my recreational pastimes, again, these are all of my vinyl that I brought with me from the US, my collection that I refuse to leave. So I brought all of this. I even have some old 45s. Bet you've never seen that before. See? So, music is important to me. I have my turntables, stereo equipment, all of this stuff that I use to help pass the days when I need something to do. And I just want to show one of my favorite albums. Actually, my favorite album is Marvin Gaye's What's Going On, but I can't find it. So one of the things I guess I'll have to do when I have nothing else to do is to go through this assortment, because they used to be in some kind of order, and now since the move they just got put in your place, and rearrange them so I can find it. But in the meantime, this is my next favorite album. I love this album. Why? Because way back in the day, I played this jam one time in my Manhattan apartment, where I threw open the windows and let my floor speakers blast out onto the street. And while this was playing, in the middle of the jam, a couple walked by. It's a true story. And they got and they heard and they stopped and they danced in the middle of the street. And it was so beautiful. It was so nice. I never had such a reaction from my music. And then they walked away. So that brings back some memories. But again, this is my hobby, this is what I do now. I don't know if anybody around here is going to start dancing when I play this, but we'll find out. And I'm not sorry that I brought them. It takes up space, but we'll get to that. Over in the corner here in one of the closets, I have a bunch of DVDs, and I think this is only maybe half of my collection. So you say, well, damn, that's a lot of stuff that you brought with you, and it's taking up room. Yeah, it does. So again, if you're thinking out long term and, oh, well, maybe I'll move there. Do I have to bring all of this stuff with me too? I don't think you need to bring it anymore, unless it has some personal meaning to you and you want to bring it. Otherwise, I would say leave it at home. You have other alternatives. You have streaming capabilities. You have Spotify. You have all other methods of being able to see the movies that, at least some of the old movies that you've seen in the past, or the old music that you listened to in the past. Of course, they'll keep up with the new stuff, so that's a given. So the coronavirus has actually impacted heavily on some of the activities that you can or cannot do. It's certainly cut down on the travel. It's certainly cut down or cut out altogether the visiting of friends. And it just means that having your hobby has to take place in your house. So you need to have something that you can do at home. Now, even my favorite hobby, which is photography, and I hope you like some of the photos that I've interjected throughout my videos in the last couple of videos. You know, these are all photos that I've taken when I've traveled around, whether I've traveled around locally or far away overseas. But photography is my passion, and photography is my hobby. And it is an expensive hobby because of the equipment. So I have a collection here. This is all my film camera equipment. This is actually my first SLR, Nikon. I bought this used for $350. The only thing that was wrong with it was this button here, which was stuck. So I couldn't do the meter reading, but after it dropped a few times, this popped out, the meter reading was fine, and this was great. And then from this, I went on and bought my second film camera, another Nikon. This worked okay. I think I took it, I used it for like 2 years. And then from there, I switched over to the digital format. This is one of my earlier cameras. I still have it, the D300. I think I saved this more for sentimental reasons. I went up through all the Nikons until I got to the D700, which was my best camera, powerful, until it broke here in the Philippines. And I tried to get it fixed, and they couldn't fix it. And from there, I think I went over to this other Nikon 750, which I got actually in Singapore on one of my trips. But I still use the 750, even though I switched over from Nikon to Fuji. And this is my second or third Fuji camera. I use this now because it's supposed to be lightweight. It is lighter. But as you can see, I have a bunch of lenses for it. So I have like a 50mm lens. I've got this one is 35. got another that's 56, another one that's 23. These are all prime lenses, no zooms. Another 50. These over here are more for the Nikon. I only kept about 2 or 3 Nikon lenses, and I wasn't going to try to have the same Nikon lenses as I did for Fuji. This one I still keep. This is Nikon. This is my 70 to 300. Now, why I keep both sets of cameras, quite frankly, the Fuji I use kind of every day when I want to go out, whether I'm going out on the street, photography, outside, or landscape, flowers in the garden, that kind of stuff. But when I come to shooting models, I like the Nikon. My lights are set up to work with the Nikon. That 70 to 300 lens is good for that. I think I like the finish better with the Nikon when it comes to shooting the models when I do my studio work. Haven't quite mastered how to do studio work with Fuji, but that's okay. It's a hobby. I got time. I got nothing better to do. These are some of my hobbies that I indulge myself in to pass the time as a retiree here in the Philippines as an expat. Just remember, have something to do, especially if you're going to be stuck in the house. Make sure you have things that you can do to occupy your time. Otherwise, you'll just go nuts, get old, wither away, and die. And I'm not ready to do any of that stuff yet, so I stay active, doing the things that I do, enjoying myself, have a hobby. Until next time, don't forget to like and subscribe. This is Steven from Philippines. See ya.